We do like 5 more minutes. If there's room. Yeah. Or we just like. Okay.
you want to do announcements?
Thank you, Maddie. Good morning, everybody. We got a little bit of white possibly for Christmas. I know the kids are happy. We're glad you joined us for worship today, whoever you are, whatever your theological, spiritual, political, sexual, or racial orientation or gender identity. You are welcome to worship here and become a part of this community. I think we've got a very fun service today, and we've got some announcements. One is that our monthly potluck is going to be this Tuesday. We'd love to have everybody come who's available, and just remember, bring your own silverware and plates and everything, and so we won't have anybody have to do dishes. Let's see, we do not have a service next Sunday, but we will have the Christmas Eve service on the 23rd. And let's see, what other announcements? Yes.
Since we do not have service next Sunday, which is the 21st, UU Church in Weymouth is having a community brunch that day. And it's from 10:30 to 12:30. So I thought it would be nice, since we're not doing anything, if folks are planning or interested and willing to go to Reverend Barber's church for brunch and meet some of the folks there. And, you get a pretty cheap breakfast. It's a free will offering. The suggested donation is $5 for an individual or $10 for a family. You don't have to contribute if that is a hardship for you. They're happy to serve whoever shows up. So if anybody's interested in showing Barber's Church some support, that's next Sunday, 10:30, 83 C Street in Weymouth.
That's a great idea. Any other announcements? Yes, Ari. The trans non-binary group is switching to every Thursday night at 7? Oh, every third Friday at 7. Oh. Okay, very good. Very good. Anything else? Okay, very good.
You want me here if you want? Share the mic.
Do you want to do different mics?
Oh yeah, we do different ones. Okay. We rehearsed this, you can tell. So welcome all to Channing Unitarian Universalist Church, or for today's service, the Channing Unitarian Society. Now, I don't want to throw any of the Universalists under the bus, but that's because we're time traveling back to 1889. Imagine that we are in our new church celebrating Christmas together.
And do you like our new Christmas tree? It's new because we learned that the Fallen Church Society in Lexington, Massachusetts, has been setting one up since 1832, when their minister, Reverend Charles Fallen, and his wife Eliza first surprised guests with their indoor tree. We've now adopted the tradition, and we have a feeling that it's catching on beyond German immigrants and UUs. In fact, President Benjamin Harrison is supposed to be installing one in the White House this year.
I'd also like to call your attention to our menorah. Now, today is the first night of Hanukkah, but we're not lighting a candle because it's not sunset yet, but we have set it up so that we can do so later. Actually, a lot of what we're doing for Christmas is fairly new because the Commonwealth only just made Christmas a state holiday in 1856. And President Grant made it a federal holiday in 1870. It was even illegal back in the 1600s to celebrate Christmas in Massachusetts. And even now, a lot of businesses are still open on Christmas Day. Can you imagine making people work on the most joyous day of the year?
That's why today we're telling the story that has moved so much of our nation to re-embrace Christmas. A story of a man whose heart was changed towards goodness in the course of one extraordinary night.
To help us tell this story, we will be assisted by the children of our religious exploration program, which brings us to our opening words. That's a responsive reading, number 616. You'll find it in your gray hymnal. Is everybody done flip? Okay. So you'll read the italics parts all together. For so the children come, and so they have been coming.
Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman.
No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses.
No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind.
Yet each night a child is born. Each night a child is born is a holy night.
Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning.
They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end?
Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping.
Okay. Please stand as you're willing and able for the lighting of our chalice. So during our service today, we'll hear a classic story written by the great Unitarian writer Charles Dickens. Today, we're going to light our chalice with his words, and these are the words you'll find in your order. I have always thought come round as a good time, a charitable time, the only time I know of here when men and women seem by one to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers. We light our chalice today for all our fellow passengers in this life, that this holiday may bring lightness where there is heaviness and joy where there is sorrow. And now the affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. You may be seated.
And now we will light our third Advent calendar. The third candle we light in this Advent season is for joy. Where do we find joy? Is it in the simple things like a warm and fragrant cup of tea? or in something monumental like the birth of a new family member. In this, the season of sharing, may we find joy in the mundane, the monumental, the familiar, and the strange. Joy can sometimes, and so we light this candle to help guide our way. We light the candle of joy.
And now we'll recite together.
Beautiful Mother of creation, you who imbue every facet of this universe with the spark of all being, teach us to find joy. Help us to open our hearts wide enough to let in the wonder of miracles, the anguish of suffering, the blessings of compassion, the beauty of truth. Help us to know that our hearts and our fists are of the same size, that the work of our hands must always be guided by the love of our hearts, to not only speak truth in the halls of power, but to sing out for the joy of change and of justice. In the true belief that someday this world can become a beloved community that holds us all in care, we light this candle of joy. Amen.
All right, I'll ask you to please stand as you're willing and able for our first hymn in honor of all the festive greenery that we've put up in our hall. Number 235, Deck the Hall. Thank you. Please be seated. In 1843, shortly after visiting Unitarians here in the United States, and shortly after joining a Unitarian church in his country, England, Charles Dickens wrote the beloved story called A Christmas Carol.
It's about a man named Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge loved money above all other things. To him, it was the most important thing in life, more important than family, friends, the people who worked for him, or people in general.
Let's see what Dickens said happened to Scrooge one fateful Christmas. Let's start our Christmas play.
Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve day, old Ebenezer Scrooge sat busy in with his money counting house.
Outside in the cold, bleak weather, the city clocks had only just struck 3 in the afternoon, but it was quite dark already. Carriages and sleighs went by, the horses' bells jingling in the winter air.
Scrooge kept a careful eye upon his clerk, who sat at a dismal little desk, copying letters. Scrooge was so very much smaller.
Piercing.
At length, the hour of closing arrived, and Bob Cratchit, the clerk, stood up and put on his scarf.
You want all day off tomorrow, I suppose, it being Christmas Day?
Quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not. I pay a day's wages for no work.
But it's only once a year.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pockets every 25th of December, but I suppose you must have the whole day. Be sure to be here all the earlier next morning.
I promise, sir. Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas. Bah! Humbug, humbug, I say.
How do you like the story so far? Charles Dickens, who wrote it, knew what it was like to be poor. When he was 12 years old, his family lost all they had and were sent to a jail for poor people. Charles was sent to work in a factory for 10 hours a day to help pay his parents' debt.
Later, he worked as a clerk like Bob Cratchit. He learned how hard things were for poor families. All his life, Charles Dickens wrote books about how hard things were for poor people. He used his gift of storytelling to help others. Let's get back to the story.
Scrooge went home to his chambers, which had once belonged to his dead business partner, Jacob Marley. They were a gloomy set of rooms in an old and dreary building where nobody lived but him. Scrooge walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa,
And sat down before the fire.
Humbug.
As Scrooge sat there, he heard a clanking noise deep down below, as if some person were dragging a heavy chain in the cellar.
He heard the cellar door fly open with a booming sound, and then he heard the noise coming up the stairs, then coming straight towards the door.
It's humbug still.
It was not a humbug, whatever that is. It was a ghost.
Now don't be scared, no one gets hurt in this play.
I wasn't scared. Humbug.
Without a pause, the ghost came through the heavy door and passed into the room before Scrooge's eyes.
A chain clasped around the ghost's middle held ledgers,
Those are books where people keep track of money.
deeds,
Those are papers about who owns property.
and cash boxes, keys, and padlocks made of steel.
Who are you?
In life, I was your business partner, Jacob Marley.
Humbug, I tell you. Humbug.
Scrooge, hear me.
Dreadful ghost, why do you trouble me?
I wear the chain I made in life. Each time I made money more important than people, each time I made some poor family lose their home. Each time I sent a poor person to prison, I made another link in this chain. And now, in death, I must drag it after me. It is a dreadful burden, Scrooge. Hear me. My time is nearly gone. I am here tonight to warn you, so that you have yet a chance of escaping my fate. You will be haunted this very evening by 3 spirits. Expect the first when the bell tolls midnight. Expect the second when it strikes 2. Expect the third when it strikes 4 in the morning. For your own sake, remember what will pass.
Bah.
Scared and tired, Scrooge went straight to bed and fell into a fitful sleep.
Now, I said that Scrooge loved money more than friends, but maybe he had one friend anyway. Maybe this man Marley was his friend because he came back to tell Scrooge the truth.
Friends do that sometimes. Sometimes a good friend will tell us the truth about how we could be better people. Do you think Scrooge will listen to this friend or to the ghosts that would come? Let's see.
Scrooge awoke when he heard the bell sounding the hour of midnight.
Light flashed in the room and the curtains were drawn aside. Scrooge found himself face to face with an unearthly visitor. It wore a tunic of purest white and a lustrous belt, and the dress trimmed with summer flowers.
Hello, I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
As the ghost spoke those words, she clasped Scrooge's hand and they passed through the wall, and soon stood upon a country road with fields on either side.
Good heavens, I was a boy here.
Walking the road, he recognized every gate and post and tree. Soon they came to a school.
The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child neglected by his friends is left there still.
Scrooge beheld himself as a child, thin, cold, alone at Christmas time in the old school with no one to care for him.
I know the boy.
Scrooge sobbed as he remembered what a sad child he had been, always alone on Christmas Day.
The ghost grasped his hand again, then stopped at a
Oh, Fezziwigs, I had my first job here.
In they went at the sight of an old gentleman sitting behind a high desk. Oh, Scrooge cried out,
Why, it's old Fezziwig, bless his heart. It's Fezziwig alive again.
accompanied by a fellow apprentice.
Work tonight, Christmas Eve, Ebenezer, Christmas Eve.
Oh, the Christmas party. He threw such marvelous parties, plenty of cake and punch and pie. It was glorious. Of course, it cost him a fortune.
Scrooge could scarcely believe his eyes, seeing himself as he was then.
As a jolly Christmas party began, Scrooge caught sight of a young girl, Fezziwig's daughter, Belle.
Ah, Belle, as lovely as ever. She always took my breath away. That was before I took the job with Marley and became infected with greed.
And then again, away Scrooge and the ghost went. Again, Scrooge saw himself, older now, a man in the prime of his life, with an eager, greedy, restless motion in his eyes.
He sat not alone, but with Belle, who had tears trailing down her cheeks. He had loved this girl once, and they were to be married.
Oh, Spirit, do not show me this day.
I cannot marry you. I don't remember.
Okay. You do not love me as I did. I fear a golden idol replaces me and gain engrosses you.
She rose and walked sadly away. Love of money had made him lose her.
No, but don't go, Belle.
She cannot hear you.
Oh, foolish young man, to have prized money over that woman. Ghost, remove me from this place.
Scrooge found himself in his own bedroom and fell heavily back to sleep.
Can you imagine seeing yourself as you once were? What a gift the spirit of Christmas past gave Scrooge, helping him remember how he became the man he was.
It was a painful gift for Scrooge. Let's see how he was able to receive it and the gift of the next spirit.
Scrooge woke up in the middle of a great snore, knowing the bell was about to strike 2. Trembling, he watched and waited.
He saw a blaze of ruddy light, which was more alarming than a dozen ghosts.
To form a kind of throne were turkeys, geese, joints of meat, long wreaths of sausages, mince.
I guess they weren't vegetarians, were they? But there were also plum puddings, barrels of red-hot chestnuts, cherry-cheeked apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, and seething bowls of punch.
Above it sat a jolly giant, glorious to see.
I am the ghost of Christmas present.
Spirit, conduct me where you will.
Gone was the fine food and punch. Gone was the room with warm fire. Instead, Scrooge and the ghost of Christmas present stood on the threshold of Bob Cratchit's door.
Blessings on this house and who will dwell within.
They went through to the door as if it were merely a mist. Inside, they found a merry bustle as the Cratchit family prepared for Christmas dinner.
Why, it's Bob Cratchit. This must be his house. This must be his family.
The Cratchit children set chairs for everyone. Bob took his son, Tiny Tim, beside him. Tiny Tim was small and thin and sickly. He could not walk very well and needed a crutch to get along.
And who is that little fellow?
That is Tiny Tim.
Why is he walking with a crutch?
I fear that Tiny Tim is not well. He has been sickly all his young life.
At last, the dishes were set on and grace was said. Mrs. Cratchit brought in a small goose on a platter.
Toast to the founder of the feast, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Founder of the feast indeed. How can he expect you to support fine family on such a small salary?
My dear, it is Christmas, and we are meant to be generous with all, even Mr. Scrooge. Yes, a Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless.
Merry Christmas. God bless us.
A spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner and a crutch without an owner carefully preserved.
But no, that cannot be. Can nothing be done?
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
Because of the ghost of Christmas past, Scrooge has seen himself as a lonely child transform into a man more inspired by greed than love.
Because of the gift of the ghost of Christmas present, Scrooge has seen the hidden home life of his worker, Bob Cratchit. He has seen a sickly child who blesses everyone. This touches the old miser's heart.
It must have made Scrooge think. Here was a boy whose life was even worse than his, except this child had a loving family. What do you think the next spirit will bring? And how will Scrooge react? Let's find out.
Scrooge lifted his eyes and beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming towards him. It was shrouded in a deep black garment, which was concealed its form, and left nothing visible save one outstretched hand.
I am in the presence of the ghost of the Christmas yet to come.
Not, but pointed downward with its hand.
You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in time. Is that so, Spirit?
Although used to ghostly company by this time, Scrooge feared the silent shape so much that his legs trembled beneath him, and he found that he could scarcely stand.
Lead on, lead on. The night is waning fast. It is precious time to me, I know. Lead on, Spirit.
Scrooge looked to find himself outside the door of Bob Cratchit's house once again.
Why do they weep, sir? Spirit?
The spirit said nothing, just pointed to Bob Cratchit, coming up the street, head bowed down. Cratchit sighs, then squares his shoulders as he opens the door.
Sorry I'm late, my dear. I was at the churchyard visiting Tiny Tim's grave. I promised him I would visit it often.
So much.
So do I, my dear. So do we all.
That's enough. Cruel Spirit, is there no hope that Tiny Tim could live?
The spirit said nothing, just raised one ghastly arm and pointed. The next moment, the spirit and Scrooge stood in a graveyard. The spirit pointed to one of the graves.
That's, what is this place? Is this where poor Tiny Tim is buried?
The ghost said nothing, but merely pointed at a headstone.
Scrooge crept towards it, trembling as he went. Following the finger, he read upon the stone of a neglected grave his own name.
Ebenezer Scrooge. No, Spirit! Oh, no, no!
The ghost of Christmas yet to be did not stir, did not move.
The Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. Good Spirit, assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me. If I change my life,
The spirit did not move.
I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive with me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on the stone.
Holding up his hands in one last prayer, he saw an alteration in the ghost's hood and dress.
It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost.
I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, oh Jacob, on my knees. Thank you for warning me. Thank you for giving me another chance.
Running to the window, he opened it, put out his head, and felt clear, bright, jovial, stirring cold.
Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious.
Hey there, boy, what's today?
What, today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
Saints be praised. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Fine fellow. Do you know if they... You know the one? It's as big as you. and buy it and tell them to bring it here. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He shan't know who sends it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
Scrooge dressed himself all in his best and at last went out into the streets. Scrooge regarded everyone with delighted smile.
He went to church and walked about, watched the people, patted children on the head, talked with beggars, and found that everything could yield him pleasure.
The day after Christmas, Scrooge was early at the office. He was waiting when Bob Cratchit entered, a little late.
Mr. Cratchit, what do you mean by coming in this late?
I'm very sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
Bob Cratchit, I cannot stand this any longer. Therefore, I'm going to raise your salary.
Raise it, sir. Are you feeling well, Mr. Scrooge?
Better than ever in my whole life. A Merry Christmas, Bob. And may it be a merrier Christmas, my good fellow, than you many a year.
You are serious. And a Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Not only do I intend to raise your salary, Bob Cratchit, I intend to provide Tiny Tim with the finest medical care that can be found.
Tiny Tim, how do you know about my son, sir?
Oh, never you mind right now. I have quite a tale to tell, such as you would never believe. We will discuss all that this very afternoon, Bob, over a cup of Christmas punch. For now, let's see what we can do for some of the poor people who rent apartments from me.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father.
He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew.
And it was always said from that great night forward that he knew how to keep Christmas well. Everyone come up. Everybody come up.
All of us.
And so, as Tiny
God bless us,
everyone.
Take a bow. Take a bow.
Take a bow.
Take a bow. And so our story concludes. Thank you to all who worked to make it happen. Let us now sing the children off to their party while we complete our service. You'll find the words for singing them to Ari in your order of service. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now that we're down to about a third of the congregation, we will have our chance to do joys and concerns. If it is language that makes us human, one half of language is to listen. Silence can exist without speech, but speech cannot live without silence. Listen to the speech of others. Listen even more to their silence. To pray is to listen to revelations of nature, to the meaning of events. To listen to music is to listen also to silence and to find the stillness deepened and enriched. If you have a joy or concern you'd like to share, you can raise your hand. I can't see you, but you can say it.
The snow is so gorgeous.
It is, and it's not it's not enough that it's causing a lot of problems at the moment. Yes.
My mom has biopsy on Wednesday, so just blessings for her, prayers for
What is your mom's name?
her. And
Anne. Yes. Wow. For an uneventful but successful surgery.
Last night, a few of us went to go see The Sound of Music, starring Gene and Joe and Lily, and it was a lot of fun. And there was a really great moment where at the end, Joe runs out with an accordion, and we all laughed in our section because all we could think of was Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Ari. Awesome. Go ahead. Happy birthday. I'm going to light a candle for the Hannah Murphy upcoming vacation. We are going to be away for Christmas for the first time ever. We're going to be on a Caribbean cruise with the four of us, my mom, my brother, and his fiance. It's either going to be wonderful or not wonderful. Candle for all those joys and concerns.
Let's take a moment to catch our breaths, especially we all had a little extra work to get out the door this morning. And if you had a kid that was in the play, little extra steps to get them ready and make sure that they got up here and they had their script. So let's just take a moment. If you haven't had a chance to think about your breathing, breathe in, hold it, and let it out. And just sit with it for a minute, not a whole minute. And then breathe in, hold it, and then slowly let it out. And then keep breathing. This is, I guess, the first, at least for the church, the first Christmas thing. So we all have a lot of Christmas things coming up, and it's hard to remember to breathe. So let's take a second here. Remember to breathe. The holidays aren't easy sometimes, not for everybody. Even when they're joyous, there's a lot of work that goes into the joy, and I see a lot of the people here that make that joy happen. And that's not easy. So take one more breath together. And release slowly in the gratitude that we have for each and every one of you. And please remain seated as we sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. The offering is a sacrament of the free church. It is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. Please stand if you're willing and able for the dedication of gifts. You'll find the words in the order of service. I know we started late, but we're also still running short on time. I did just want to connect what we did earlier today with the adult portion of the service. Christmas is a made-up holiday because all holidays are made up. And we know holidays are made up because we changed them, which means we made them up and we're still making them up. The way we celebrate Christmas today in the United States is a fairly recent invention. Every country in the world that celebrates Christmas has their own way of celebrating, their own versions of decorations, their own version of who visits you, even which day or days you celebrate. As Americans do with everything, we've taken the parts we like most, mostly through immigration, and blended them holiday, including a few inventions of our own like frosting. That is because we are a nation of governments, laws, and our culture every couple of generations. We built change into our governing document, the Constitution. We are still, despite our current government's efforts, a big hope for people who want, need, crave change and a better life. Part of it is because when it comes to Christmas, the US was a blank slate. We built our Christmas from the ground up because until 1681, Christmas was illegal in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. So we all know about like Oliver Cromwell and Charles I, the English Civil War. So the Puritans won that war and took over the British government for a short while. And they passed a series of laws that affected both British law and religion because the Church of England was part of the government. To purge the Church of England of pagan and Catholic practices, they banned the public celebration of Christmas, ending feasts, gift-giving, role reversal among peasants and landlords, all of which originated as Saturnalia. When the monarchy was restored in 1660, Christmas was legal again, except in Massachusetts, where Puritans still ran the government. So, but eventually, though, the American Puritans were forced to relent because they started running into issues with the crown in the 1680s. A lot of it coming from the rising number of non-Puritans who started settling in Massachusetts. And then a couple of other little tricky things like the witch trials and other efforts that caused the crown to wonder whether the Massachusetts Bay Colony was following their guidance or not. So Christmas came back in 1681, but it was still small ball. It was mostly dead in the water. Churches observed it with Mass, but it was otherwise a normal working day. In that way for much of our history. Things started to change in the 19th century. But change doesn't happen organically. It comes from change agents. Those agents of change included Anglican reformers and Unitarians looking to transform Christmas from a solemn Calvinist practice back to feasts and celebrations of peace, charity, and goodwill to all. Writers like Washington Irving, Clement Clark Moore, and Charles Dickens began writing works to spread this message, like A Visit from St. Nicholas and, as we saw today, A Christmas Carol. Unitarian and Universalist congregations began introducing elements of Christmas from the old world, like the Christmas tree. They wrote new carols like Jingle Bells. I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, which was to celebrate the end of the Civil War. And as we will sing later, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. It's hard to imagine these things as new because of just how all-encompassing Christmas is in our country today. But they weren't always here, and Unitarians saw a missing piece to American society, one that allowed us to this missing piece had allowed us to maintain a rigid class order and slavery. We were missing a moral center that let us dehumanize others and conquer the West and kill each other in our own civil war. With the conclusion of that civil war, Unitarians saw a chance to make the changes brought by Union victory lasting while restoring national dignity and unity. They looked for opportunities to make Christmas a national holiday. In 1867, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and other Unitarians invited another Unitarian from across the pond, Charles Dickens, to the US to publicly read A Christmas Carol. Dickens had been giving public readings in Britain since 1849, and they wished to replicate the experience here in the US. His first stop was Boston, where he had already spent years of his earlier life. And his first reading was at the Tremont Temple right behind the Parker House Hotel. And it was a hit. He toured the country reading A Christmas Carol. By 1870, works like A Christmas Carol and The Visit from St. Nicholas and more had changed Christmas in America to a celebration of charity and goodwill to all humankind, and President Grant signed it into law as a federal holiday that year. Christmas continues to change, and our conversations about it change too. We see it play out in places like Dedham, where a Catholic minister has modified his church's nativity to suggest what current U.S. immigration enforcement would look like on Christmas Eve in Bethlehem. We see it in the rise in food donations and gift fundraisers as food assistance is cut, grocery costs rise, and healthcare is priced out of many Americans' budgets. Unitarians changed Christmas to change this nation, to protest wars of empire and slavery, to compel our government and fellow citizens to treat each other better, to make Christmas reflect our pluralist principles and include all in our celebrations, not just those who say Merry Christmas. When we, you celebrate Christmas, we continue this tradition of pushing back against Christian nationalist impulses, starting with the Puritans, to police who celebrates Christmas and how they must do it. We prevent the use of Christmas to dehumanize and degrade others. Christmas is a made-up holiday, but all holidays are made up, and they're all based on truth. And now, let us rise together and sing hymn number, sorry, I lost the hymn. 244, thank you. It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. This was a Christmas hymn written by Unitarian minister Hamilton Sears as he recovered from a nervous breakdown, which I think is something we can all identify with right now. And in protest of the Mexican-American War, which a lot of people saw, especially the Whig, members of the Whig Party, saw as an imperialist land grab. So let us, while we sing, consider the people of Venezuela, who our government is now threatening with a similar war of empire. Came upon the the earth and through all goodwill from heaven the news we bring. The world in summer stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come, with peaceful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats over all the weary world. Above its sad holy plains, they bend the hovering wing, and ever o'er its battle sounds the blessed angels sing. Amid the woes of war and strife, the world has suffered long. Beneath the angels' train have ruled 2,000 years of wrong. And we who fight the wars hear not the love song which they bring. Oh, hush the noise of battle strife, and hear the angels sing. Though the days are hastening, our by the prophet's word, years, round the age will go, when peace over all the earth its ancient splendors reign. Oh, world, give back the song which now the angels sing. Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice. You'll find the words in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, or the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I wish you all a happy, joyous holidays, whichever holiday it is, a holiday or holidays you are celebrating this season. I will see you all, if you are able to make it, to our Christmas Eve service. And may you bring whatever joy and peace you've gotten from today's service with you out into the world. Amen. God bless.